practical guide for DMs, GMs, and just wanna BMs and other folks too. This is a podcast where we answer questions and talk about role-playing games such as Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, but mostly from a DM perspective. We hope other people can enjoy it, D&D players, just, people who like conversations and such. My name is Spencer Crittenden. I do a thing called Harmontown. I am with my buddy here.
Hey, I'm Cohen Edenfield. I do a podcast called Master Manual. It's for DMs, GMs, and just wanna BMs.
Other folks too.
And other folks too. We mostly talk. Okay.
So that's really interesting that you bring that up. So that's Master Manual, a podcast on iTunes,
Stitcher,
and you've been doing that for how long?
It's hard to say because this is this is 8?
It's hard to say.
It's hard to say.
It's hard to say when you smoke as much pot as I do.
Yeah, this is God. We're cracking away at this for like 3 or 4 months.
It's hard to say.
Yeah, but it's hard to say is the answer.
I mean, because that sounds right, but it also sounds very wrong. So I don't know.
It's not that difficult to say.
It's hard to say.
I say that a lot.
So what do you got going on? Any magic? Any D&D? Any nerdy shit?
Playing D&D, DMing tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Very excited. We had to put it off last week. I can't remember why, but it happens, man. I think it was me. It was probably my fault. I've been playing Octopath Traveler.
Right. We've been playing. I've been talking about that, and you got it. We've been playing it kind of not near each other, but near each other in spirit.
Yeah. Well, like last week after we recorded, we just talked about. I guess we could have just talked about it on the show about how you enjoyed it, and you were like selling me on it.
What you don't know is that we have conversations that constitute an entire podcast, but we just don't record it.
Yeah, it's really inefficient, but it also explains why we're like a month ahead.
It creates an amazing growth opportunity.
Yeah. It's a thing that people are excited about.
You love us coming in the room, talking off screen.
Yeah, it's a premium thing. It's the conversational equivalent of a line of people outside a bar. A club.
That's the best part.
Yeah. Well, that's mostly I've been playing Octopath. It's really fun. I just got the 6th. I started with the dancer, and her story is
Primrose.
Her story is pitch fucking black, and I would not recommend starting there.
It's also problematic. Most of the storylines are pretty problematic.
Yeah, the one with the scholar started rough with like I don't want to spoil it, but like the scholar guy had like, I don't know. I guess skip ahead 45 seconds if you don't want a spoiler about this minor prelude thing.
Yeah, about the introduction of a video
game.
Yeah,
it had like a fake there was like a fake Me Too accusation.
Yeah, a woman was jealous of a man's affections for another woman, so she accused the man of impropriety because she's jealous, and then admits to it.
And it's played like a cute thing, and then
he forgives her like, women.
And I wanted to go get this book anyway, and I was like, yikes, y'all.
The whole it's bad. Most of the plot, like at best, the plot can be tedious. Actually, I'm in
some
chapter
of them are pretty
3.
Charming.
Yeah, I'm in chapter 3, and shit is starting to get real, and I'm very much enjoying it.
I'm already seeing where like they're starting to like. It's like even in like the early stuff, I see how the plots are like dovetailing. I'm like, oh, that's the guy from the other one is showing up in this one.
It seems cool.
Yeah, and I really like the grinding and the min-maxing and the like. Doing the thing.
The combat can be tedious, but if you learn the combat mechanics, you can find the ways that aren't tedious to deal with it. I don't know. I read reviews and they were saying it was all tedious, and then I actually played it.
I burn through because I have the dancer, and she always starts. I always start off with like the knight, hit everybody, use that, and then the soldier comes out, does the swing, level swipe, and it just hits. I do a lot of exactly how I played these games.
Yeah.
15 years ago is I just spam the area, like the
area
hit
attacks.
multi of people,
and
then just pour mana potions down everybody's throat and just burn through it.
It's a great way to do it.
Then
if you play, do that.
Yeah, and then you get enough XP that you're high enough level that you can just kill things by hitting them normally, and you're fine.
I'm finally like hitting my stride combat wise. It's so much fun to like just stomp over all these enemies that I was having such trouble with in the game.
I've been hanging out in an area that's actually like above the level where I should be fighting, but I'm able to kind of like skate by and get in, and which lets me. It's the Peninsula of Power. concept. Are you familiar with this?
No.
There was an area in the first Final Fantasy game. There was like 4 tiles that were accidentally gave you much stronger monsters.
Oh yeah.
And so if you went there, you could grind up and like much faster. It's called the Peninsula of Power. And these are they always put one in Final Fantasy games.
Now Final Fantasy 1. That game was tedious.
Oh yes. Good God.
I gave up that game more than any other Final Fantasy game I've played.
I played it on the Game Boy Advance.
Oh wow. I think I played that one too.
Yeah, it was the one where it came packaged with
the other game, right?
With 2, yeah. 2 was a little bit too esoteric for me.
Yep, it was bad. So yeah, no real D&D. I think the last time we played D&D, I talked about it on the last episode. So.
Oh, did y'all not play last night?
No, we didn't do a show last night. So.
I saw your end of stage screen, your mission complete screen.
Right,
that was really
that's on
funny.
my Instagram. That's what we talked about last episode.
That was really funny. Like even having heard it, just had. Somebody come in and shoot me with a fucking dart. I can't talk.
We'll
for
cut
shit.
all of it out. It'll be good.
Having heard you talk about it, I still don't know if that sentence works.
It does now.
Okay, then it was still funny.
Yeah, I really think it's a funny concept. When it came to me, I thought it was funny. I think it executes pretty well. I don't know. I don't think it's super applicable to everybody, but if you have any sort of mission structure in your RPG, you can probably use something like this.
Yeah.
And I think it's a fun way to kind of score your players without like really criticizing them, because anytime you do any game that has those kind of scoring screens, it's always so punishing. It's like, wait a second, I didn't get all Fs.
It's like and it's. The thing is, I think it's like it comes from a place of like Devil May Cry had this.
Yeah.
And I mean, all their games had this. Who was that?
Capcom. Right?
Oh, it's just fucking Capcom.
I don't know.
They had the whole thing of like, you for style, you got a C, idiot. Nice backflips, not good backflips, actually, Dante. And it was like, well, shit, come on, I'm not gonna play this game again. Let me just think that I'm doing fine. I don't need to know that I did a mediocre job. This isn't my job. I'm not really a vampire hunter. Let me just feel stylish in this. I don't need to occasionally be reminded that I did it imperfectly.
Whatever happened to beating the level?
Yeah, what the fuck?
I thought I was supposed to beat the level. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. Maybe that's too far afield.
I did that in my campaign I'm running, and my Sonic one. They got to like an area where there was this like grand, weird, hyperdimensional being that told them that they had done a bad job.
Uh-oh.
And then they could either go back and try again or spend a century with him playing Skip-Bo.
I love Skip-Bo.
I do too. But they weren't into it.
Yeah, no, not for a century.
Which is, so if you ever have NPC, we've had a lot of people ask like, how do you get your players to do this? How do you get them to do that? Have them transported to an extra dimensional being's, infinite hellscape to only be allowed to play Skip-Bo with them.
Yeah, like that episode of Futurama.
Yeah, it was kind of like that. But at the end where they play Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh yeah, that was that same episode, huh?
Yeah,
that's so funny. Yeah, well, that's cool. I like there are stage clear screens in Sonic, right?
Yeah,
like with the score and stuff.
Yeah, but you always get a. There's
no grade, just points.
There was in Sonic Adventure, and it didn't make any sense. And I think it was
broken. Never make sense.
Nothing in Sonic Adventure made sense.
I just mean nothing in a scoring system makes sense.
That's true. All right, let's do this shit.
Do you want to start with some Helga Cruciform?
Yeah. So last week I kind of put you in the grinder.
I fought the machine. I was Helga Cruciform fighting the machine or such.
And Helga Cruciform, the machine won.
Oh, she won.
Week. Just barely eked out. It was like
I'm no John Henry.
Okay, but now it's my turn.
You're gonna go up against not the machine.
No.
But the mob.
The mob? What the fuck?
That's just, I just call our Twitter users a mob.
Oh, okay.
Hate mob was taken.
No, ours is good.
No, even mob is too pejorative.
We need, you know what we need? We need a name for our fans.
Not yet. You guys can figure it out. I don't want to put that on us right yet.
Oh, no, I'm not going to come up with
it. We can barely even come up with names to fill a segment about coming up with names.
All right.
Anyway, we're gonna do 7 names. Cohen's gonna list off 7. I'm gonna spout off 7 that you guys have brought in, and we'll see. And then I'm gonna pass judgment and see who wins.
Okay.
Let's see if the audience is better at Cohen, because if they are, I might want to get a new host.
Yeah, you could just do like Tom Sharpling this, where you just take calls.
That could be fun. We might set that up. No, that seems like too much work. Well, who knows? Anyway,
fun.
Let's start. Do you want to start?
That's for the upper tier boys.
The upper tier boys.
Yeah, you know what? I'll throw something out. And okay, ready, set. Reginald Buttercorn.
Reginald Buttercorn, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if that can beat Sean Steffen's pitch of Clyde Cassidy. What was yours?
Reginald Buttercorn.
Gonna have to give that to the mob.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
Delta Hand Grenade.
Oh, man. This goes up against Gregory Crump, submitted by Eric McKinney.
Damn.
Gonna have to give that to the mob.
God. Okay, I'm getting brutalized. Okay, to dig deep. I'm thinking Sanskrit. I'm thinking Hungarian. Rubicon Connellsworth.
That one's good. Rubicon Connellsworth.
Yeah. Come on.
Eggcorn submits Hyperion North.
That's better.
Gonna have to give it to the mob.
God, I'm getting brutalized.
You gotta step it up. You're about to lose.
Okay. Rex Bezos.
Rex Bezos. That's very good. But can it beat Klim Jebso?
Who's that from?
Andrew D. Bangi.
Andrew, why do you have to do me so dirty?
Gonna give it to the mob.
No.
Klim Jebso.
No.
I can't even remember yours, and not because I'm looking at the other one.
No, it's so okay.
This is all just a formality at this point. You have definitely lost.
But
So let's keep it up.
Okay. Leaf Mimiform.
Oh wow, Leaf Mimiform. Well, Zimbo says Cheek Man the Droopy. Gotta give it to the mob.
No.
This is you can't keep up with the...
I gotta get one. Lumion, the Light Mage.
Okay. Admiral Halo submits
No.
Artemisian the Holer. Gotta give it to the mob. That's a clean sweep. I can't believe
That was only 6.
What are the odds? You got one more?
I got one more. I got this.
Well, it's useless at this point. You're just banging yourself against the wall. Do you have what it takes?
Yes.
Foolishness?
Okay. Come on. It's Carnax. No last name.
Imperion. What is it? Imperium Volt submits Flug Elf Eater. Gonna have to give it to the mob. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
I'm dead.
Or what you're doing wrong.
I'm laying down. Can you hear me?
I barely. I mean, we'll find out in the edit, huh?
I guess so. I was.
He was dead. I'm sure they heard it. But
you beat me, the mob.
Let's just do a quick 1 and 2, 1 and 4. So it's like a 1 in 128 odds of that result happening, of just getting destroyed by our fans.
They're just so good.
Yeah, it's like our fans are like the best fans there are. They're like the smartest, most creative people that could be.
And well, I mean, each one of them is slightly better than 1/7 as good as me.
Well,
and that totaled better.
Right. The set of possible audience capabilities is definitely from that number to way better than us.
Yeah. Well, we got to move past this because we can't let that get out.
Well, thanks so much for submitting names. Hopefully we'll work some more of your names into future segments and such. We love audience
Callum Ryan
input.
says Sturman Drang.
Yeah, that's a good one.
We got a bunch of them, and thank you so much. We posted this out right before. If yours didn't make it, maybe next time.
Oh, definitely next time.
They're all really good. I'm scrolling through, but
I know they're all too good.
Yeah, we're gonna have to have some of these people killed. All right, I got a question for you.
Uh-oh. Okay, let's do it.
Okay, this comes from Thomas Russell.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, guys. Love the podcast. As a new DM... Oh, wait,
Thank you.
As a new DM, one of the first hurdles I feel coming up is that I'm unsure as to how to have the party meet. I know I can just say they're together, but it doesn't feel real. What do you guys recommend? Thanks.
So
Tom, aka Punch Your Buns on Twitter, Instagram.
Let's not go too fast. He loves the podcast.
Okay,
let's just talk about that for a while.
It's spelled with an H, Thom.
Oh, Thom.
That's the gentleman's Tom.
That's the
that's how the Queen spells it.
That H is class.
Oh, it's like Thomas. That you keep the H, I guess.
But yeah.
Oh, that's fancy.
Well,
I've never gotten why there were Toms that had an H in there because I'm a simple man. I'm just down there in my butter beans and my soy cans with my thumb up my ass and my head in the clouds.
I mean, Cohen doesn't have an H in it.
It does.
Well, not before the O.
It's after the O.
Yeah, close enough.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is a similar question to one we've actually answered before.
Is it?
How do you get the party to meet, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, we've had how do you have the adventure to start?
Right. So similar. Not the same question. That's true. I was thinking about it wrong. But this is... Oh, okay.
Look, this is an advice show about D&D. People are going to ask us questions. And who am I to remember every question?
Also, I think we'll have different answers every time we answer it just by luck.
Yeah.
So
that was one of my favorite things about William Faulkner, famous Southern author, is late in life, he would give interviews while just drunk as shit on the front of his porch, and he'd be like, yeah, people would ask, he'd be like, why did this character wear a black hat? Did that represent the Civil War? And he'd be like, sure, if whatever you say. And then the next week, somebody from a different magazine would be like, so why did I have a black hat? Did that represent
truth,
God, or truth? And he'd be like, oh, absolutely. Aren't you so clever to ask? So let's do like that.
At the beginning of that anecdote, I thought, what did I think? I thought that he was going to just rewrite books that he already wrote. He just started again.
This is a complete out of left field, but okay, he did a book where the whole point of the book was that it was a which one was it? Absalom? Yeah, it was Absalom. One of the whole points of the book is that nobody has a good read on the past and that things shift and you keep hearing stories from different perspectives. And there's a thing at the end where there's a family tree that has lists of when things actually happened. And somebody editing the book, and the deal is the numbers on these things when actually happened, the years don't match up with the story in the book. And that's the point.
That's interesting.
And somebody who edited the book put out an edition where they had fixed all the numbers at the end, these are some continuity errors.
Boy.
Oh God, really not getting it, huh? Anyway, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it answered mine, and thanks for saying the podcast was good. Let's move on. No, so this made me think of, there's in the Fate system, Fate Accelerated, Fate Core, they have character creation that you work in how they met each other into the character creation. I tried to look it up and I failed, so I'm going to try and recite it from memory and get it wrong. But you come up with your character, and then you come up with how your character met the first other character. And then you come up with how your character met the second other character. And then the third or fourth, if it's 3 people, it's just those 2. And then if it's 4, you go one more with the third character. And every player does that. And so you have their initial meeting with every person. And in that meeting,
do you role play them out?
Well, not you can, but you kind of just work them out together. So let's just quickly create characters. I'm Korlak, the brave orc.
I'm Digital Mindscape.
So Korlak, the brave orc, met Digital Mindscape when his computer exploded, and he had to go to the Apple Store, and they had to fight cyber demons to get the computer working again.
Cyber demons who had summoned orcs to do the mechanical parts, and then the orcs were wearing these sort of half bone, half computer chip armor, and it was kick ass.
And so like, what was your Mindscape?
Yes, cyber shit.
What was it?
Let's just go with Mindscape. I forgot the first part.
So Mindscape and Karnak versus the cyber demons would be kind of like what you'd call the meeting. And then so that would be ours, and then I'd have another one with the other character, and then you kind of have a final one how everyone all met up together for this most recent time. And so in that way it's kind of like role playing, and it's kind of not. You're kind of just talking through all of these meetings, and you're working together collaboratively to come up with your backstory. So then when you're actually playing, you can kind of revert back to it and talk about it in the past and actually build it out more in real role-playing moments that are structured by this interaction.
That works. And the game I'm playing I guess I'm just going to start referring to it as Rich's game. That's the game
Rich's game.
It's the one I'm playing. I mentioned where everybody. It's kind of like Princess Bridey, and we're the champions of Crown City. We started at level 3, and we had an adventure in our backstory together. After we had all been appointed as champions, some pirates had attacked the city, and he actually, this is really cool, he gave us a worksheet. It was just like 7 questions, and one of them was like, what's one thing your character did to fight, in the fight with the pirates?
Right.
And it was like, it started getting you in the headspace of like, how does my character behave in combat before it was like needing in the moment to like think of something.
Right.
And that was like our first adventure, but also people in the party had known each other. So like their characters might have known each other.
Man, can you get that worksheet? I'd love to show it to people.
Yeah. I will get that.
I'll write it down. Hopefully we'll have that online.
I still
for
have
you.
mine. So I definitely have it. It was brilliant. It had a bunch of, it was like, why is your character join the champions? And it was like just a lot of really good little role. And then we turned those in, and then he was able to build role-playing hooks. Rich is a genius. He's really good.
Worksheets or surveys like that I've never used them myself, but I've heard a lot, and it seems like it's a really good solution because it's not giving someone a creative writing prompt the same way giving me your character background would be, but it gives you information that you need, or it helps you.
It also has like a question and about 3 lines worth of space.
Right.
So it's not like saying, tell me about your character, which can have...
That's such a hard thing.
People can like write a couple of sentences or
7 pages.
7. I was literally going to say 7 pages
because it's never less than. 7 pages is all too common.
Yeah, because like people start. A lot of people.
I get it.
Some people like to write.
Yeah,
I like to write.
I used to be on RP forums, and it was the same way. There was people who would write pages and pages and pages for a single post, and there were people who'd be like, "Yeah, here's 7 paragraphs, and that's a post." So yeah, people have different levels of verboseness and creative writing wants and needs.
Yeah, sometimes people want like all of their role playing to be in media res. They don't want to start playing their character until their character is interacting with other people.
Right.
I get that too.
Yeah.
In my game that I'm running, I'm only running for 3 people, so I was able to start with one character, have him meet the second character, and have them both then meet the third character.
Right.
The only problem with that was it was like an hour before the third person got to start playing.
Yeah. If you can knock that out early, it's good, but that's the challenge that method presents. So I like that. There's what's another one? You can also just take them through flashback scenes as single role-playing kind of segments that you bounce between. So it's like, hey, you're a kid. Your village is attacked by orcs. What do you do? And then you just do that for a little bit. You don't even necessarily need roles for that. And then you just work through a bit of their past, cut to the next person, a bit of their past, cut, and then you flash forward in time, do it a couple more times. You could do 3 to 5 rounds of that. Get a pretty good glimpse of kind of aspects of their life. You can maybe inform that by getting their input on what kind of scenes you want for their flashback and life story. So then they give you, it's like, my character, he was marooned on an island. So then it's like, here's the marooned on an island scene. And then you work through that pretty quick, and then you're just bouncing player to player, unless they have some sort of shared background.
And you can give them little trinkets and stuff that they like. Maybe if like somebody was on an island, maybe they like, okay, you found a weird stone while you were there. And then that's like that can make things, it's like, and you still have it.
Right.
Or you found like a flute that plays a note, plays music that only you can hear.
Also NPC interactions that you can set up for later.
That makes things like these backstory things that people can like,
they're
not
real,
engage because they feel ephemeral, but when they hook into the real story, or carry over in some way. Yeah, they feel more real.
Because when you are just writing it, there's a tendency to be like, oh, yeah, well, I trained under my mentor, the Flea, so I would never do this. When it's kind of just like an abstract way to justify something your character would, and it's not really a living piece of your character's history or something. When you actually play it out, it feels a lot differently.
Long backstories rarely survive contact with other players. Like, because it's like, you'll have it like, I lost my wife in the war, and blah, blah, blah. And then you start playing and you realize, man, I just want this guy to like steal fruit. I don't want to. You like festivals, right? You like
I love festivals
as a start.
I love side quests and mini games, and festivals provide opportunities for both.
Yeah, but like for starting, because it's like anytime you have like a festival, or like you mentioned one time, like a guild, like a bunch of guilds, like being like, are you strong enough to join? That's justification for like a lot of people being there.
Right.
And it's also something that can go wrong and have a lot of panic and
a lot of different levels of stakes. So like something going wrong can be like, oh, we lost the pig for the pig race, or it could be like everybody died.
Yeah, or it's like maybe a hatchet throwing contest. Use, make an attack roll. Maybe you're teaching them how to make attack rolls. Whatever.
Yeah, I love stuff like that. I love the idea of like, oh, you're at a festival and there's a guy challenging anyone to a wrestling match, and it's like you're not supposed to be in a wrestling match. You're supposed to be in a world where a wrestling match is happening, and if you want to join, you join, and you don't have to. I don't know. It's just I like presenting a lot of fun things.
You can fight the singing robot from Chrono Trigger,
right? Well, I told you I based it off my stuff off the Wild Arms thing, but Chrono Trigger is a way better.
Yeah, the Millennium
example.
Festival and Chrono Trigger kicks ass.
You get all the stars.
You can like do a ton of stuff at the start. Oh God! And then when you're on trial, and later you're on trial, and
I don't think I got that far.
Oh, you get later because you end up like on trial because they think you kidnapped the princess, and like there are witnesses to how you behaved at the festival.
Wow.
And they're like, oh yeah, that guy ate my lunch, because if you like keep eating this guy's lunch to heal yourself while you're fighting the robot, or it's like, oh, he picked up the necklace before he tried to help the girl who had been knocked down. People are like, oh, he was just in it for the money. And it's like it plays out differently.
That's
based
so
on
deep.
Oh, Chrono Trigger is it's really fucking good. Really good game. I'm not very brave for saying that, but
I always find RPGs kind of grindy, and they get kind of tedious. And someone told me that you don't have to get in like any of the fights, like any of the random fights.
You can avoid them, but the coolest thing about them is it never goes to a separate screen.
Right.
Every single fight in the game is built into the environment that you're just walking around. So you'll see like a little goblin riding on like a little ball, and then like you'll walk past it, and then like, oh, it's a little roly-poly monster, and also his bird friends coming out of the tree and whatever.
Yeah. I don't know. I get bogged down by the combat, especially when I was younger. I just had less patience.
I'd say give it another shot. It's real good.
I probably will. I got pretty far in Chrono Cross. Yeah, well, that's the other thing is I always have this backlog of games. Yeah. Whatever, you guys have that too, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to crack into our
roll up some shit?
Man, there's a fantasy character in our days as a young kid. The guy's name was R Johnson.
George, first name George.
No, just like 20 R's. Oh, that's R Johnson. Anyway.
Silly.
Yeah, man, I don't have a lot of memories of being a youth, but that was one of them, huh? Anyway, loot table or brute fable, the bit where we come up with random content. We roll some dice to determine like a monster or a trap or like a magical sword, and then we're going to make it up on the spot. It's like a making up content stuff. You can use the content. Out of time of recording, we haven't released any of the segments, so we don't know whether you like it or not. I think you'll probably dig it.
Next time?
Yeah, I think next one.
Oh, I hope they like it.
Yeah, I think they'll be fine with it at least.
All right. Okay, so you roll and I'll give you your card.
Okay, yeah.
I went first last time.
Yeah, I think that's true. So I rolled a 2, which is a monster, like a monster-ass monster.
Ooh. All right, you got the Page of Cups reversed.
Page of Cups reversed. What's that?
The inner child, as represented by the Page of Cups, can at times act exactly like a child.
Mm-hmm.
While sometimes full of wonder and happiness, he can also fly into tantrums and into the world of his imagination, leaving all reality behind. This, of course, came from the Golden Thread app, which I used to get our cards.
So if you got off the screen, don't worry about it. But is there like just a list of attributes that comes up on that?
There is. Let me.
That to me is the most helpful.
Yeah, immaturity, escapism, and lack of creativity.
Escapism and lack of creativity.
Yeah. Also tantrums.
Yeah. All right. So, we don't have to start with a name. I always want to start with a name, and that seems bad. So this is a monster, right? It's a monster that is born out of the mind of a magically adept child who is in a bad spot. Like they don't necessarily have to be spoiled, but they have to kind of be comfortable enough where they're not like looking for their next meal, but at the same time just having a bad time, like privileged kind of whininess. Anyway, if you're magic and you're prone to privileged whininess, those negative thoughts, they eventually manifest into a living being, which is the monster that I'm riffing. And that living being is like a manifestation of all the vices and impulsiveness of that child, except it's put into a very badly drawn body of a monster. It's like a terrible imaginary monster, and it looks like any of the normal monsters that are normal in that area. So if it's like, oh yeah, there's all these Barghests around here, it might be a badly drawn Barghest, but it's like a really distorted kid version of a monster, and it doesn't behave necessarily like those monsters. It just behaves kind of
maybe like a kid's impression of that monster. So
yeah.
Like, if it were a big dog, it would be like growling and barking and maybe like leaping around and not behaving as a dog would. And
right.
Also, I really like the visual of it looking like a bad crayon drawing.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing. Obviously, in universe, that looks like different things. It looks on a cartoon, it would look awesome as a badly drawn cartoon. But
yeah,
if
I think
it's
we're
like
both
models,
picturing it like it probably differently, but in that kind of way where it's like
I think we're picturing
something.
the exact same.
Yeah. Well, I guess I could draw it if I could reach.
Let's draw it. No.
Okay.
Well, you draw it.
I'll draw it and then we can put it on the thing.
In terms of its powers, I think its temperament, it's more like a bratty child than anything else. Like and its intelligence and value system is like that. Like even if it's like a Terrask monster version of it, it would still love candy, for instance. The things that would like a child would be into. And what else? It also like would have telekinetic force powers to the extent that it could like push and pull things. Yeah, that was exactly what I was picturing.
Really?
How did we do that?
Similar? No. Okay.
My thing had a lot more jags around its face.
Yeah, mine too. But I'm not good at rendering.
Maybe we were picturing the same thing.
Maybe, yeah. We are not. It's now the telephone game of like it going from your whatever.
Oh yeah, like that game. We called it STDs, but I think it's called Telestrations.
Telestrations, yeah, that's the official version. We called it EPYC. Eat poop, you cat.
That's not too far off from STDs.
Yeah. I guess possibly just like the game, it's gotten changed as it's
right.
Anyway, I take a picture so that we can like eventually post this when it comes up. Yeah. What is the name of it though?
I don't know. You were usually the guy who names stuff.
What if it's the Scrubble?
The Scrubble. That's so good. I love it.
All right.
The Scrubble. Yeah, so he's got telekinetic powers. He's a monster that has a monster suite that you can change to fit whatever monster archetype you want to base it on. It acts like a bratty child because it essentially is a mental construct of a bratty child that just has a physical form, kind of like a Bogart. That was like my initial concept, or when I first, like my seed of an idea was like the Bogart from Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Just because it's like a child, or it's like your fears.
The visualization though, I like that it's like.
Yeah,
the drawing is really neat.
Like Spang Bob.
Yeah, it is a little bit like old Spang Bob, ain't it?
Yeah, but that's good. I mean, who fucking cares?
Spang Bob or Doodle Bob?
Doodle Bob. That yeah.
Spang Bob was the meme.
Yeah, it was he was bad face guy.
So the Scrubble. Okay,
the Scrubble.
Put that on the wiki.
I'm gonna hit it.
Okay. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna roll mine. Are you ready to tell me what it means?
Nope, but yes.
Okay. I got a 1.
Oh yeah, that's a humanesque monster. That's like the one you rolled last time.
Okay.
And you can interpret that how you want if you want to mix things
humanesque. Help me out here. Humanesque monster that's like a bugbear or a goblin or a.
Yeah, like mine was like a Scrubble in the sense that it could be like a big dog or a weird cat. But yeah, yours is more like a humanoid, something with some semblance of intelligence.
Like a kobold.
Yeah, or
Okay.
like a dead wizard.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. I got the Six of Wands. Victory, success, public reward. After a tough battle, the Six of Wands represents a very public celebration of a victory. It is achievement as well as recognition for one's achievements. Okay. I got this one.
Hell yeah.
This is the idea I immediately conceived of is it's like a thing. It's like a guy that shows up like a it's like an element. It's like a spirit. It's not like a real person, but it shows up after like a tough battle and immediately starts like singing a song of the battle and following the victor around.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like he's like this, like, oh, this is like it's sort of like he's like following you around, like, you did it, you're amazing, and you're like, hey, this guy, great, we got this bard who's gonna follow us around. But when you drop your guard, he tries to kill you in your sleep because you got a bunch of stuff. You got like treasure from the person. Also, you're probably weakened because you've been in a difficult fight.
Right.
He's sort of like a vulture, except he preys on the successful.
Yeah.
So it's not as like a, and also like when the time comes, like it's revealed to have like this is like a glamour, and it's got like a vulture head and like big, it's actually like playing a rib cage when you see its true form.
Damn.
Instead of a lyre.
So what's its MO? This is a place where it can find easy pickings.
Yeah, I think it's like attracted to glory,
right.
And it like wants, but it's like, it's kind of dumb because like vultures go for things that are dying, but it's going for the thing that just won.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like an irritating addition to, like, oh, you won, and oh, here's a guy to sing about how you won, and it's, oh, you got attacked again, and it's like, it's frustrating because it's not, you can tell it's not that strong of an enemy, but maybe you probably used all your best spells and stuff.
Right.
And you might like have used your attacks and stuff, and like he would get in there before your characters could take a long rest,
right?
Just as like this irritating thing, and probably their like desire to like quickly get to a place where they take a long rest is why he'd be able to prey on them,
right? And maybe his music is not entirely non-magical music.
Yeah, he's just playing songs.
He's like,
oh, he's not entirely non-magical,
right?
Okay, yeah, there'd probably be like a it'd be like, oh, you guys are getting sleepy.
Yeah, or like, man, we are so good. We're so good. Let's go to bed unarmed.
Yeah,
right now
without
kind of posting a watch. I don't know. You know, maybe that's too strong. I'm not trying to push it too hard.
Maybe he always offers to take the watch.
Yeah,
and so you're like,
yeah, no, that's great. That's because it's like that's a good hint. You know, I mean, it's I like that. I mean, that whole idea is so cool. It's like a really well-formed concept. It's very, what do you call it? Resonant, I think. Like, just the idea that it's like this ghost spirit kind of guy.
I like it because it's like, it's taking a moment that I think is very common.
Right.
Which is the post-success.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we did it. And then it's like, well, sticking a knife in there.
Yeah, man.
That's fun.
That's legit.
What would be a name?
Hard to beat the Scrubble.
The Scrubble is pretty good. The Thrill Stealer or the Killseeker. Neither of those are good.
I like both of them.
Okay. The Killseeker then. Killseeker, like Thrill Seeker.
Well, Killseeker. I think I said the thing I said not on the mic at all. So.
Oh, what did you say?
I don't remember. I just remember saying it.
I think you said.
I said I liked both of them.
Yes, it was a compliment.
No wonder you wanted me to repeat it.
A double compliment. That's right.
I can't remember positivity. Who do you think I am? All right, so that was Loot Table or Brute Fable. You can use these guys in your campaign if you want. Go ahead.
These are original characters. Please steal.
Yeah, but like, please do not steal also.
No, you're welcome to them. Please use them. I also like, I want to know how this if you put this stuff in your campaign, and like, I want to know how it shakes out. Like,
yeah.
Send us, like, tweet us, email, Instagram. Let us know what happened. I'm
That's
curious.
Great. Yeah. So yes. So tell us what that is, what you've done, and we should set up a segment where we talk about exactly that, like the things people have done.
I think we call that segment. So how'd it go?
What did you think?
Yeah. So what do you think about my ideas?
Is there a way to
Pretty good
denote
ideas?
that kind of inflection?
Pretty good ideas.
Pretty good, huh? Anyway, yeah, let us know. I saw 2 or 3 people said that they wanted to use mystery mummies, and I was very tickled by that.
Yeah,
so.
I want to see. Yeah, please tell me how that shakes out. I'm really interested.
Let it go. Yeah. No, seriously though. But also seriously is our need to take a break.
Oh yeah, got to keep the lights on.
You know we do. Personal training is good, right? But it's never going to teach you how to be a wizard. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. I feel like you're describing my entire adolescence.
Well, that's why we've partnered with Pexis, the muscle mage, and his exquisite personal training course for the body and spirit. He'll teach you how to work those abs, and he'll teach you how to cast cantrips as well.
Now, you may not actually have latent magical ability, and that is exactly what this program is designed to determine. It's Pexis the Muscle Wizards. Whiz they or won't they?
Whiz there, won't they? They'll squeeze your body. They'll wring out every drop of mana that you have and make sure you can use it, or
discover you do not have any latent ability and you are actually mundane.
Either way, it's a brilliant insight. It's an experience you need to have, and you pay either way, whether or not you're magic.
Solve the mystery of your own mediocrity.
Whiz they or won't they? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Whiz they or won't they? A personal training course for the magically interested.
For the rest of us and the best of us, and no one in between.
And don't just take our word for it. Ask Pexis himself.
Hey there, I'm Pexis, and you join up my school of magics and muscles.
That wasn't very helpful, but he wanted us to play that. So.
Yeah, well, he's very forceful and magical.
Right. It's a very dangerous combination.
Yeah, it's
but for you, it's very good.
Yeah. As long as you're magical.
Yeah, man.
I can't guarantee your safety if you're not.
I can't guarantee it either way, and I think we're not supposed to guarantee it.
Yeah. I mean, that's part of the adventure. Just like in Hogwarts, how they had like a ton of dead kids.
Right.
It was like a joke. Don't go in the forest, you'll die.
Like those kids.
And then, like, the first time a kid died in the book, it was like a huge tragedy.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, oh, Moaning Myrtle, she died. And then, like, Cedric Diggory, his father is, like, weeping and holding his body. It's like, this is a lot less lighthearted than I was led to believe.
Well, yeah, we're talking about a dead man, so.
Yeah.
Anyway, use the promo code Master Manual for a free consultation. Find out if you're magic or just will be very injured by the consultation process today.
Whether your adventure be magical or tragical.
And whether you be alive or a dead child from Hogwarts.
Well, we're back.
And we're back.
I sure did enjoy that suite of products.
Oh, man, did you?
I did.
I liked it, too. I'm going to do whatever or use whatever we just spoke about or promoted.
Yeah, every time
the
situation arises. Okay, do we have time for one more?
I think we got time for a question or two more.
Okay, we'll definitely have time for this one. Hello, Masters. I'm writing to let you know that. Oh, this is from Mark Brennan. Hello, Masters. I'm writing to let you know that the name of the song that Cohen was singing and trying to place in the episode 1 was Tom's Diner by Suzanne Vega. I'm Mark Brennan, listening in from Lansdale, Pennsylvania. Keep casting. Thank you, Mark. We will. All right. Well, show's over. No, we got time.
I thought he had a question. I got a question. If you don't.
Oh yeah, no, lay it on me, Nakatomi.
All Plaza.
Right. Setting of the movie Die Hard.
Never seen it, but I gotta.
It happens at Nakatomi Plaza. It's a building.
That I know. It's a good building. Everybody loved it, right?
Yeah.
The movie was about everybody loving a big building.
Yeah, he's like Bruce Willis is walking around on broken glass, and he's like, I love this.
You know, it's broken glass, but I still love this building.
You know. I can't. I was trying.
I liked your earlier impression.
You know, well, you don't like my Bruce Willis.
No, I like the other Bruce Willis.
Do you think it sounds a little too much like Marlon Brando?
Oh yeah, when you pointed out, yeah.
I was supposed to come up and have a few laughs.
Kim Gordon Ramsay on Instagram asks, I'd love for you guys to talk about your process for creative narrative structure and arcs, building to the BBEG, which stands for Big Bad Evil Guy. Put more generally, advice in designing a campaign that's not just a module. So that's kind of broad. Let's just focus on like the building to a BBEG. Well,
can I link this to another question that I think is
No, we're gonna have to end the show.
Oh, okay.
No, what is?
Oh, okay. Well, it's just a similar question that we also got this week.
Maybe even the same question.
You know what? I can't find it right now, but it was basically a question about like how do you set things up, like, or like should you focus on I don't know.
Make up a question.
Yeah, the nature of the question was like, should you focus on linking things together,
right,
or should you focus on a big bad, and at what point should you?
Yeah, so that is related. That's interesting. I like linking things together, but not in like a sequential chain. Like I like making multiple layers of things that all kind of link together to the same goal. Like they don't necessarily have to cross or anything, but it all points in the same direction. So it's like maybe there's no water because the bad wizard, and maybe someone lost his dog because the bad wizard. But it's like that doesn't intersect with the water. It's just all these ways to converge on the same point. That way you don't ever have to rely on one thread, or you don't have to have everything build on each other. The same thing. It's like, oh, the town is having a problem can be all like, oh, my mom needs help. And it's all going towards the same direction.
Yeah. I feel like I have a bad habit of starting with the big bad and then working backwards.
I think that's fair. I think that starting with character personalities and their motivations and goals and likely actions is a good way to build out.
I find myself then like, though I get to a place where I'm like, okay, well, they're like 5 sessions away from when that's going to happen. So I just got to get there. But then it's like, no, this is a series of discrete experiences that should all be enjoyable.
Right.
And they're loosely linked together by a plot. That's the best way to play that's what I want to get closer to.
That's what we think is the best play to do it at the moment.
Yeah, right this minute I say that's good because it's not what I've been doing.
Right.
Because I've been doing too much of like, here's my big story and welcome to it. Please take your shoes off before you come into my story.
That's a big, I think a lot of people face that challenge. I think it's not like a crutch or anything, but I think it's a mode that presents a lot of problems and challenges and opportunities for disappointment.
I think, because fundamentally we all understand how to tell a story.
Right.
And when you tell a story, you want it to have a point. And usually the best way to have a point to a story is to have it go somewhere. And if you know that they're going to end by Aang faces the Fire Lord, Luke fights the Emperor.
Luke fights the Emperorite.
Luke fights the Emperorite. You know, that big piece of crystal that control
that
would have been
lightning.
A better ending, man.
That would be
if
badass.
he had been fought like a huge piece of sentient crystal.
Let's cut a big crystal over the Emperor and all the lines stay the same, but it's
Come
just
on,
like
that would have kicked
it's a big
ass.
rock. Yeah, that would have kicked ass.
The most disappointing thing to me about Star Wars is that like everyone important is a human.
Yeah. That's what I don't. Yeah, I like non-humans in anything fantasy related, and the more humans there are, the less on board I am.
I say that like 900 people are going to be. What about Chewie? What about Yoda? Secondary characters, chumps.
Also, that's like you could do better than that. That's 2 characters.
Yeah.
Like everybody should be a crazy monster. It's
I guess
space.
R2D2 and
the robots don't count. Robots are awesome, but
did we ever do alternate monster lore?
No, we haven't got there yet.
Oh, how are we doing on time?
We're providing lots of content. It's
okay.
Great. But just to talk about I think it's way too common to come up with a cool bad guy and then he's too strong to encounter, so you have to encounter one of his lieutenants and stuff.
It's the Cloverfield problem.
Right, and I think the solution to that is just make the lieutenant the first guy that you encounter, the lower tier guy. Make him the big bad guy at that power level and capable of ascending and reaching greater heights.
Oh yeah, have him grow with your characters.
Yeah, because if you start off like, I don't know, I just remember I made this...
Admiral Darkstar.
Yeah, Admiral Darkstar.
Admiral Darkstar, I just want to say real quick, I just got to the point where he... spoiler warning for a 4.5-year-old podcast. He got his head cut off and died.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that's the end of Admiral Darkstar. Don't tell me.
I didn't know either.
Oh yeah, I could tell. Because then also he had a big robot that they fought. It was just cool. That was great though, because he showed up at the beginning and they beat him and they showed up again and he keeps showing up.
Right, because he was supposed to be the big bad guy, but his specific identity wasn't super important, so it's like he can just be the guy that's like, oh no, you looks like Team Rocket's blasting off again.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a better relationship to have with a big bad guy. I just remember one time I made a level 20 bad guy. He had like all these crazy abilities, and then he also had an entire class of like this super powerful mind control class.
Wow, sounds unbeatable.
Yeah, because he was level 20 and he had just had an army of dudes, and like he just never existed because
well, how are you going to engage that with
can't.
anyone?
So I spent all that work, it went nowhere, and I think that's the problem, is that when you think too far ahead, you spend a lot of work that's never going to get seen by anybody, and if you think smaller, on a smaller scale, you get there a lot faster. I think in the past episode we talked about you want to focus more tightly, zoom in closer on your immediate surroundings, and I think this is in service of that same concept.
I think again, this is a thing that comes from moving stuff from. We want to recreate the stories that we see in
Cool
TV
stories.
and in movies and this. And it's like, in TV, it's like, oh, Buffy fights a monster every week.
Right.
But you always see that the monster has been sent by the Master
Right.
or whatever. Rita Repulsa sends the monster every week that fights the Power Rangers. And you can show narratively, oh, here's Rita Repulsa. But if you think about it, the Power Rangers did not actually encounter Rita Repulsa.
They don't see
very
those
often.
scenes.
Yeah. So they'd be like, oh, shit, there's a monster. And also her lightning spike came from space.
Right.
And it's like, they would encounter her occasionally, but she's kind of out of their weight class.
Right.
Also, she existed. That footage was 20 years old,
Right.
So that woman couldn't interact with them in scenes.
Right, but just you approach things narratively, but in an actual game, they aren't approached by the players in that same narrative fashion, which causes a lot of disconnects and misconceptions and
don't do cutscenes.
Right. Yeah.
Don't.
That's
God, I hate that.
It's if you're trying to do cutscenes, you're approaching it in a flawed manner. No offense, but you might want to work on that.
I know a lot of people do it, and I know a lot of people like it, and I think it works great. It works great for dramatic podcasts,
For
narrative-driven dramatic podcasts. But good God, it is not engaging if you're at the table to hear about characters that you will never see until the end, or have no.
That's one of the worst things you could do, probably, I would say.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of just enjoyability. I don't know. I remember I played in this game where, I might have mentioned this, where another player was like the main character of the game, and he was like a higher level than everybody and had crazy magical equipment.
Was it the DM?
No, it was the DM's friend. I mean, we were all the DM's friends. But and so like a lot of the things would be like a crazy NPC comes to the main guy and is like, "Hey, you're the main guy. I have a quest for you, and don't you have this relationship or thing that you're supposed to tell me because you have this special relationship from being the main guy?" And everyone else was just sitting there like, what the fuck's happening? I don't actually know how much they enjoyed it. I would leave and stop getting invited.
No
but,
kidding. I would leave that also.
Yeah, but it was very not fun, and I don't know. It's just don't. You're playing with your friends, man. You don't want to make your friends feel like that. I don't know how to express that any way other than the most vulnerable way. But I don't know. Why are you trying to make your friends feel like that, man?
Don't do that. But also, I feel like, okay, so to answer the question,
small. Start small.
This is I've had some success with this. I had a character who was supposed to be a one-shot villain who was supposed to just show up for a second and has now become like the most important one.
Hey, so do that. Make it a disposable villain, and then just
scale them up.
Yeah,
if they get killed, have them come back.
Right.
It's a world of magic and evil. Maybe getting killed, they like made a pact with the devil, and now they're back with hell powers.
Also, if they get killed and you have like an idea that's like a slight variation on that idea, you just do that guy and be like, "Hey, I'm the guy. I was his apprentice or his boss or something, and now I'm like a slightly different shade of gray version of that guy, and it's basically the same, but not, because it's the second draft."
Remember how in Fast and the Furious, they killed that one guy, and then Jason Statham was just his brother at his hospital bed, like, "I'm gonna get revenge on the people who did this." And then they didn't even have to change the name of they were saying, like, Shaw! Like, they didn't even have to learn a new name to be mad at.
Just do that. I mean, that happens for player characters a lot. Like, oh, my guy Bronson died, and so now Johnson, his brother, is here. But yeah, so that's the thing. I would just say, in terms of structuring your narrative, it's a cool tip too. If you have an endpoint or an idea of an endpoint, to think of the most opposite version of that. So it's like, oh, if they're going to become these big, benevolent, rich people, then you start them as very conniving, like scrappy, poor people, because then you're the farthest away. That's a bad example. But the idea is that you want your characters to go through the biggest growth possible to get to that stage. So you start them as far as possible as you can. I don't know. That's just a larger structural note, but that counts. I'm counting it.
That was a good question. Who asked us that question?
I think that was Kim Gordon Ramsay.
Oh, thanks, Kim Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah, thank you so
good
much. Hope we answered it. You can ask us again if you didn't like this answer. You don't have to. No one's. I don't know. It's all bad. This is a bad show.
No, it's good. It's a good show, and I love it. It's time to dive in.
it.
All right, we got to dive in. We got to get in there quick.
Animals. Was it animal? No, aminals.
Amlinals. There it is. Alternate monster lore. Inals.
Amlinals.
I got one this week.
Okay.
Kobolds.
So kobolds are very goblin-like for most intents and purposes. They're very weak. They're green-skinned. They're slight and scrawny.
They're associated with dragons.
Right. They are not like goblins in the sense that they look draconic. They have kind of maybe pterodactyl-like heads. They got lizardy, dragony kind of heads and features. They usually worship dragons
as gods.
Yeah.
Really. And like they have this idea that they might become dragons.
Which might be true.
You can certainly make it. And so I'm kind of cheated a little bit because I had this idea earlier in the show and I was thinking about it.
No.
So my idea is kobolds plus bees.
So from now on, this is a podcast using cheats.
Okay. This is cheat mode. Sorry. We're not going to unlock any achievements.
We don't get the good ending.
Yeah, no. This is
no.
We're
okay,
get banned from Steam.
I love this though. Kobolds with bees. Do you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah.
A bit?
So the idea is, I hope this isn't too fully formed.
No, I love this already. Bees are the best.
They make where dragons come from in your universe where you're using these, or this is a dragon, is kobolds have like a royal kobold jelly.
Okay.
That they feed to little like pupated kobolds, and they'll feed to like 5 or 6 at once, and then those will turn into like wormlings,
right?
And then those grow. But these dragons that they make have a psychic awareness of the other ones at all times, and they can only advance. Like they start off with 7. I didn't have this idea when I started, but as I'm talking it's good. They start off with 7, and like all of those will become like a weak proto worm,
right?
And when one of them gets killed, all 6 of them will grow into the next stage, but whichever one did the killing will be a little bit stronger.
So they kill each other.
Yeah, so like they have like a dim psychic awareness of where the other ones are,
right?
Like directionally, like they don't know specifically, but they could if they know like the bearing that they could follow.
So they can't see.
They can see, but like
they have a second sight for themselves.
No, I just mean like, if you have one and you have another one that's 300 miles away,
right?
He would know they're in that direction, but if it moved 200 miles closer, he wouldn't know that. He would just still know they're in that direction.
So just so we don't lose this,
sorry,
as content. No, it's fine. When you said bees, I was imagining in your world that dragons came from bees.
Okay.
No, this is not a pitch. I just want to put it into the world. Is that bees swarm. And they swarm so much that just like a dragon just pops out as if it were like natural phenomenon.
Enough bees, like if you have enough bees together, dragon size, they just become a dragon.
Like the way that some clouds will collect in the way it requires to make lightning happen, and then lightning just emits from the clouds. It's like when enough bees gather. Just like they shit out a dragon, which is like in Dragons and Dragons of Tarkir from Magic the Gathering, they have dragon tempests, and they're just storms that generate dragons. So it's like that
kicks ass.
Yeah, but bees.
Bees instead, it's swarms.
Anyway, back to the real thing, because that is not meant to be anything but like a joke.
That's
it's
so much
funny,
better though. Mine was like,
we'll do that next episode.
Okay. So really, it's kobolds who are eventually becoming dragons by like killing off the other 7.
I love that because kobolds, they kind of have this hive mind collective like worship of dragons. Sometimes they keep a dragon in their lair and then they'll give it offerings and stuff. But the idea that it's arranged much like the hierarchy of a hive of bees, and then you can have different kobolds occupying those different roles.
And it would take like hundreds of years to finally get to the final one, because it was like as they got older they would like be like, okay, as soon as they get like killed off like one or two, they're big enough to fly.
Right.
If they're smart, they're going to get away from the other ones and like plot and plan. So like almost like a whole world could like, without knowing it, like rise and fall.
Right.
Maybe they like some are good and some are evil. Like they wouldn't necessarily all have to be evil dragons, and maybe they have like different.
Maybe
colors.
they can invoke the colors by some form of ritual, like the bad pitch is like different kinds of royal jelly or some shit.
No,
you know?
I like that. I like that it's like, or maybe there's like competing, but I almost want to. It's like I like the idea of it being like a thing that they're doing the same way that bees do it. They like, this is we know we're supposed to do this.
Right. That's what I like is the idea that it's like kobolds are so weak that they need to create their own technology that keeps their culture alive, and that technology is making dragons. It's manufacturing dragons.
That's their like bioweapon.
Right, and that's the best that they can do. It's like troglodytes can make stench, and kobolds, their main trope is, I think, not their main trope, but they do a lot of traps, I think.
Oh yeah, there's that
shitty traps.
Dylan's kobolds or whatever, Drake's kobolds. Do you
Yeah.
ever read about that guy?
That's a RPG trope. Where there's kobolds that are just not powerful kobolds, but they're so well prepared and they're so cunning in their use of tricks and traps that they can take on how strong of a party? A very strong party?
Like super strong. Because
the
idea,
high level.
Yeah, the idea behind it is that like you don't need a Tarrasque or like a level 20 monster to create problems from your party.
Right.
You can give them just traps and have enemies that are clever
and that flout your expectations. That's not the word. Whatever.
Yeah, that works.
Maybe it was. Yeah, but so it's like it's really about presenting a challenge to the players is not about getting a big monster out of a book. It's about knowing your players, knowing their strengths and weaknesses, and then challenging them.
Yeah.
So.
If you know that they always charge blindly in, or if you know that they like to cast the darkness spell because it gives them an edge, have them go up against some warlocks or some things with devil sight or tremor sense.
Right.
That kind of thing.
So that's what those kobolds were signifying, right?
Yeah.
We don't have a name for these guys, huh?
Yeah.
There's no good puns I can think of. Not that we should only do. I don't even want to say that. We should only do puns.
Comold. Comolds, because they shape the dragons.
Comolds.
That's not very good.
That's very tenuous.
Yeah, it is. Dragon crafters. Dragonsmiths?
Dragonsmiths. The Dragonsmith clan.
Yeah, the Dragonsmith clan. There we go.
All right.
Dragonsmith
kobolds.
You know what? That's good enough to be on the fucking cover of a paperback fantasy novel in 1997 or whatever.
I already sent it to Wizards.
Oh, man.
I'm getting paid.
Oh, did you not put my name on it?
You know I did not.
Oh.
You're the Ursula K. Le Guin of this podcast relationship.
She was doing all right.
She was, and people were fucking stealing her shit.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I love that. I like that is a narrative thread of this podcast is we will never stop saying that she should be getting more credit for Skyrim.
Yeah, the more things we can latch onto and just keep saying to generate content and seconds of filled time.
Just strip mining for jokes.
That's all I care about is just counting down the clock.
All right, I think we counted it down pretty good.
Oh, yeah, no, we did. I mean...
Did we go over?
This is like this. No, I mean, over is good. Over is the new under.
I guess that's true. I guess we're far enough in that maybe by now it's like this is the difficulty progression of listening to this podcast.
Yeah,
will gradually go up.
Podcasts bloat as they get older, I think, generally, and
there's this sort of easy arrogance to talking for longer.
Oh yeah, it's easy to be arrogant.
All right, should we call it though?
Yeah, man. So you got any last minute business? You can send us questions at mastermanualpod@gmail.com. We have a Facebook group, Master Manual Pod. We have an Instagram and Twitter, Master Manual Pod.
And we're like, around what time is this going to be coming out? This one? End of October.
Beginning of October. End of December. End of September. Something like that.
End of September.
Something like that.
All right. Well, we're getting into the spooky months.
Oh yeah. Send us your spookiest questions.
Yeah. Eventually.
We
All
have a Reddit and a Discord, Master Manual Pod.
Thank you to the very nice person. What's her name?
Sarah Kate Noel
has been posting the episodes on Reddit. Thank you so much on our Reddit.
Yeah, for creating a Reddit presence. That was very nice of you. I kind of wanted to do it myself, but I was like, this is so arrogant. And then I didn't. What else? At the Sixler.
At Skull Mandible.
That's me. At Master Manual Pod. What else? At Matt Mercer. He's a different guy.
Are you going to just bother him?
Yeah, as always, if we give you a Twitter account, unless we otherwise say explicitly, we mean for you to harass them.
No, don't. No, be nice.
No. Matt's great. He's the best. He's like who I wish I was. In a good way. Anyway, that about does it for Master Manual.
All right. Well, looks like we booked him again.
Until next time, mastery is manual, and that's not a masturbation joke.
Oh, God. I didn't even think.
That's all I've ever thought with this whole podcast title is manual mastery. Sounds like it's all bad.
I'm playing the music. It's over.